About Siemens in Malaysia, I think Siemens globally is taking a lot of steps on this front. Now, I'm pretty new in Siemens Malaysia, so I still have to actually start sitting with Alani looking at things that are making this workplace more female-friendly, woman-friendly. First of all, I need to tell I'm a little bit different from Dato Bakeries over here. The glass ceiling does exist. Yeah. And I've seen some of the pretty ugly side of it. Now, having said that, isn't that there are a lot of examples of women who are actually they are able to cross it. Right? They have shown some photographs this morning, and rather than saying that they have shattered it, I would say that they have just come out of bullet holes, and this is where the ceiling still is intact over there. And when it will shatter, it's like when more and more women are actually going to come out of the bullet holes that it collapses. And this is where I agree with Dato Bakeries again, that this is again in your mind, your brain, how you want to restrict yourself or how you want to unleash yourself.
Almost 30 years of my life was dedicated to the issue of domestic violence, right? But of course, we were not only looking at domestic violence, we were looking also at other aspects of a woman's life. In the workplace, in the home, in parliament, all of that. But the question I often ask is, when you say, has there been discrimination in the workplace? I want to start by telling the story about someone like me who grew up in a Tamil background, right? So I was born in Brickfields, Tamil family from Sri Lanka. My parents were born in Sri Lanka. They had my dowry all ready for me, a beautiful house, and I was often told as I was growing up, Ivy, this is for your dowry. So that when you marry, you enter the husband's family with a house and jewelry and all of that. So I was really, well, I was quite excited in the beginning. I was thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have this house, I'm going to have jewelry, I'm going to have all of this. And I saw all the Tamil movies and I was like very worried. I kept asking my mother, do I have to sing for my husband? And all of that. So, so at some point in my life, thank God my parents always encouraged me to read. I realized as I was reading Femina, reading Reader's Digest, that women were asking this question about, is my life only dedicated to marriage? Do I only have to be a daughter and then a wife? Right? And I was very confused about this dowry. I even asked my mother once cheekily, and she was very angry with me. I said, Ma, if I give the man the money and the dowry and the house, then I'm buying him, right? Discrimination in the workplace in Malaysia, of course there is. I mean, if you look at it, Parliament, in Cabinet, 32 ministers. How many women are there? 222 members of Parliament, and yet only about 10%, right? In the public sector, the government sector, yes, they have almost 47% of women in decision-making positions. But across the board, it's all below 30%, in fact about 20%. So discrimination in terms of opportunities is there.
The only thing that matters in corporations is your performance. Because end of the day, it's about profit and loss. Can you or can't you do the job? That's it. If you can do the job, you're going to be the best person for it. I also don't believe in quotas. I think quotas suck. Because you have to be the best person for the job. I don't even talk about the parliament, yeah? How many women have how many seats and so on. The reason why it's so few is not about discrimination. The reason why there are so few women in the parliament is because that wasn't something that you think is for you from youth. You are told from very young that your ideal is to get married and have babies. So that's what you gravitate towards. Very few of us will defy that. Because when you defy that, you defy society, you defy the environment, you defy everything. It's going to have a lot of strength of character to say, you know what, I don't care, this is what I want to do. And I'm going to go out there and be a president or whatever. And then when you do that, it doesn't matter what people think about you or what people say about you, you do what you want. But that courage is something women don't have. It's not a discrimination, we discriminate against ourselves. Most of the time we are our own worst enemies. And sometimes it's not just always the men. I don't blame men, I blame societal conditioning that makes you become the way you are. You can do anything you want. What's stopping you? You ask yourself that question, what's stopping you? I was the first female in Malaysia to get the job as a field engineer in Schlumberger. It was the highest paying job for engineers at that time. I turned it down because my mom told me that's not a job for girls. And that's one regret I'll have for the rest of my life. But you know who made that choice? I did. Who discriminated? I got the job. I went for my training, I got it, and all the other guys in the university were so envious of me. I got the job. I turned it down because my mom thought if I go to work in the oil rigs in the North Seas, the only thing that happened to me is I'll get raped. There's an archaic thinking. But that was the thinking. I subscribed to it. I subscribed to it because I was afraid. And I didn't know any better. But I will never tell that to my daughter. I'll tell her, go do whatever you want. Build your career. Be financially independent. To put the perspective into what actually is discrimination, I think that the only glass ceiling that you have is the one in your head. This is something I tell all my girls. The only glass ceiling is the one that you have in your head. But sometimes it's easier to blame everything else but you. Because it's really hard for us. I know it, I'm saying it's hard. It's very hard for me to get out of it. You get married so early, then you think that the rest of your life is about making your husband happy, doing the things he does, because if you don't, you're a bad mom or you're a bad wife. And you go through life, women go through life with that, but not younger women, not this generation. The only difference between a man and a woman are genitals, that's about it. Only difference, honestly. If you can remember that, your brain is your brain, you know? It's how much you use it and what you use it for. That's the huge difference. That's the paradigm shift. How do we make the path better for women? We, as a woman, collectively, what we first should do is not to bring each other down. We should raise each other up. We should support each other. We should not be the voice. We should not bitch about one another. That's something so wrong. I refuse to get drawn into that. When we change who we are and we are a voice or a force to be reckoned with, the policies will inevitably change and evolve along with us. But we have to be that change. We have to make the choice. I don't want us, and speak for all of us, to say, give me, give me, give me. That's not how you make that change, by asking. You make the change by being, by doing, and by being that change. So that's something, and we need to teach the younger generation that you can do it, not by asking for it, like, please sir, can I have some more, but by being that change. So strong that they cannot ignore you. They cannot look over you. You become an indomitable force by being that change.
My philosophy is always to be better, not bitter, because it's very easy to be in that state of bitterness and then everything around you becomes bitter, right? So that is just a frame of mind. If this is a situation, how can I use that energy from pain and turn that into a positive? So the imposter syndrome is, I think, something that affects both genders, but more so with women. The imposter syndrome is, I don't think I'm good enough for this. Right? There's this recent research that shows that if there is a job vacancy, a man would apply the job knowing that 50% they are able to do the job. A woman will wait to think I'm 80% capable before they'll take on the job. So the man will take on the job and figure it out once they get the job. So this is okay. So this one thing about the imposter syndrome. We women have this thing that they think they're not good enough. Okay. The other thing they talk about in the book is called the good girl. Okay. The good girl thing is when you go to school, right, you do your work, and girls generally do better in school, in the early days especially. The teacher marks you, well, A+, well done, you get that recognition, well done Frida, A+. Now when you go to the workplace, right, and you submit your work, your boss ain't going to say, good girl Frida, until you speak up and say, this is my job, this is my contribution. Okay, so again, these are some things I said, wow, and this is what I do, my boss, I tell him, this is what I've done, because no one's going to speak up for me until, my philosophy is, am I affecting other people's rice bowl by doing this? If I'm not affecting anybody's rice bowl, then I better speak out for myself.
Biggest challenge was, I was a perennial bad girl. I wasn't really bad, but because I didn't follow societal norms, I was teaching and it was supposed to be a very good job, and then I decided to do business for myself, and I was like, what, are you nuts? You know, that kind of thing, what's wrong with you? And then you're pregnant, you got a baby, you're not taking care of it. What kind of a woman are you? What kind of a mother are you? I've been asked that my whole life. And that hurt. Because when I have a little girl and I have to leave her and I travel, you think of your little girl, but you also want your career for you. So very often women make a choice. They give that up because they have to conform to how society berates them for making the choice that society expects you to make as a good woman. Stay at home, raise your kid. I was told by my own relatives that, you know, you and your daughter are going to have, you're going to be so distant if you're not there, and you're not there for your kids when they grow up. But the thing is, I am there, but it's quality time, not quantity time. I may not have to be there 24 hours, but when I'm there, I'm there. So the thing is, my daughter and I are best friends. We have the best mother-daughter relationship now. She's 19 years old, and we have a great relationship. And I did that while working and spending a bit, so it can be done. And this is my policy. If you're not paying my rent, or if you're not putting food on my table, shut up. That's it.
We just do not want you to feel different. You are part of us. We are all same. Nothing is different apart from something what the British refer to. So let us be there together.
Hey.